ladies and gentlemen, to Fan Appreciation Month here on Reaction and Review. Tonight, guys, I'm checking out a sci-fi comedy from 1974. That movie is Dark Star. Now, Dark Star, guys, is a movie I've wanted to watch for many, many years, and the big reason why is because I have stated numerous times over the course of this series I am a big fan of John Carpenter and his many films. Dark Star is his very first feature film. Not only that, but it's co-written. Carpenter co-wrote this with an amazing screenwriter named Dan O'Bannon. Guys, just the very thought of Dan O'Bannon and John Carpenter writing a script together is making me nothing short of giddy. I have absolutely the highest expectations for this thing. And it's a sci-fi dark comedy. I love sci-fi films, I love dark comedies, and I love Carpenter and I love Dan O'Bannon. This thing, guys, almost has to be good. This thing, guys, almost has to be awesome simply because it has all the makings of a great film. But the only way I'm going to find out if this thing is any good at all is if I shut up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Dark Star. So let me see if I understand this. So this ship, the fucking Dark Star, was sent by Earth to travel parsecs and parsecs away from Earth. They are so far away that it takes 10 years for any kind of transmission from the ship to reach Earth. But they were sent from Earth to blow up unstable planets so that way they can colonize the stable ones. Interesting. Well, I mean, I guess I honestly wouldn't mind being essentially an intergalactic demolition team. I mean, that just sounds sort of fun, man. Especially since the bomb was so friendly and talkative until they dropped it and then fled as far the fuck away as possible. Shit, guys, that actually sounded more and more fun the more that I think about it. Wow, that actually is sort of cool. So, the alien that is on the ship is a beach ball with flippers. You know, guys, I totally understand that that is like the cheapest fucking thing you could do for this sort of movie, but I don't know why, but this ugly little beach ball, it's kind of cute for an alien. I honestly don't know if it's... Oh my god, and the flippers are actually, fully movable and can be fucking, puppeteered around. That actually makes it a little bit cooler. Alright, you know, granted, I mean, it's cheap, but I definitely kind of sort of like it. You know, guys, I really am shocked at just how absolutely polite the bombs are on this ship. You know, guys, first of all, the very thought of sentient talking bombs is, not quite totally normal. But the fact that the two bombs we've met in this film have been very, very nice and talkative and polite, it just seems kind of fucked up for something that's built to blow up an entire planet. You know what I mean? Just seems a little odd. Sort of cool, but kind of odd. Okay, guys, I would like to say right now, I really kind of sort of like how the star suit, or, well, let's just call it what it is, a space suit, appears to be made out of dryer hose and muffin tins. I really love how this movie was able to take its ultra-low budget and able to make something work. I, guys, would never have thought about taking like a muffin tin and putting it on the chest of your star suit to make it look like it's got some kind of device on it. That honestly is really fucking creative and kind of sort of cool. Well, guys, that was Dark Star, and wow, that ending was kind of deep. Well, kind of dark and depressing. Was not quite what I was expecting. Let me shut that off. Okay, so let's talk about the movie, shall we? Wow, no, I really was not expecting that ending. I am not going to spoil anything, but it's a film that actually tries to get all deep and philosophical towards the end and actually makes it kind of work. Unfortunately, it doesn't really leave you feeling happy. I'm going to say that. God damn, is that ending ever grim. Okay, so anyway, why don't we start with writing, since I'm already talking about the ending. This whole movie, guys, is just literally about our small crew on this tiny ship. Basically, oh geez, I just got a message on Facebook. I'll deal with that later. Anyway, so it's a tiny crew of only 4 people on a ship. Basically, their job is to blow up unstable planets. The bombs have some form of sentience, are able to talk to the crew, and are the most polite characters in the entire film, which I find that to be really cool. I honestly do. And our crew have been in space for 20 years, at least 20 years, because they actually do at one point mention it. I believe they did say 20 years. Except somehow they've only aged 3. I'm not going to go into detail on that because the film itself never really does. And you can kind of see that, like, space, that essentially something akin to, like, space madness or isolation sickness, something along those lines. Something which is almost guaranteed to screw with your head is starting to fuck with every member of the crew. So we have, like, say, Talby, whose post on the ship is to sit in the little dome on top of the ship. He almost never leaves that dome. He just sits there and just stares out at the stars and dreams of seeing the Phoenix asteroids. Everybody else is down in the main part of the ship, and we've got Pinback, who's just completely sick and tired of the whole crew, because the whole crew is rude and surly and douchey, and he's sick and tired of dealing, with them. And the other 2 are, well, surly, douchey, and you're gonna be kind of sick of seeing them. Our cast of characters are all fleshed out fairly well. There is also one other character. Well, besides our four crew members and our 2 talking bombs, we also have the ship's onboard computer, which doesn't really have a whole lot of personality, but is certainly there and is sort of helping push the whole, plot along. There is also one other character who shows up, but I'm not going to go into detail because that's a massive goddamn spoiler, and I don't want to go into spoilers on this. So really, guys, it's basically a film about our four crew, members, basically just dealing with being out in space for 20 years. At one point they picked, or correctionally, before the film started, they picked up a fucking alien, and Pinback wanted them to take the alien with him as some kind of like a mascot or some such shit, and he's supposed to feed it. And that entire segment is like 20 minutes of pure comedy, as he is trying to feed the alien, and then the alien runs off, the alien chases him, and he chases the alien, he winds up in a fucking elevator shaft. Whole thing goes on for like 20 minutes. And all of it is really kind of funny. It really is. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, this film handles humor incredibly well, which is something that I wasn't totally sure on, because when I think of the 2 people who wrote this, when I think of John Carpenter, when I think of Dan O'Bannon, comedy is normally not like a high point for either of them. Normally, the 2 of them are fantastic at writing sci-fi, writing horror, writing like stuff with tons and tons of tension. I don't normally think of them, though, for humor, but when these 2 come together, my God, are they ever good at writing humor. They have penned a very dark comedy here, where we will have scenes that are incredibly serious, as we basically see these characters like breaking down, and they're sick and tired of seeing each other for 20 years. It just builds up all of this shit. And then we have our brief bits of humor, and those things jump out and they work so well. Our writing here is some top-notch stuff, and I would not have expected less from John Carpenter and Dan O'Bannon. And god damn it, after seeing this, I really wish that the two of them would work on more films together, because or at the very least, the two of them have got to write more shit. I do not care if it's books. I don't care if it's screenplays. I want to see more from the writing team of Dan O'Bannon and John Carpenter. I just think that that would be amazing, because this film showed me that those two can make magic together when they have to write a script. I really loved the writing in this. The acting. The acting is where I'm gonna kind of have to, like, harp on this thing. Just slightly. The reason why, guys, is because everybody here sounds a little bit wooden. And mind you, you honestly are going to get used to it, because this, guys, is not like other films I've covered where people's, like, acting skill level, I guess, like, fluctuates from, you know, scene to scene or sometimes shot by shot. The very fact that everybody's acting here is kind of sort of wooden, and, you know, it just doesn't feel totally fucking natural, and you could totally write it off as just basically what happens when you deal with space madness, isolation sickness, whatever the fuck you want to call it. You actually are going to get used to it within the first couple of minutes. The only character who it doesn't frickin' excuse is the I believe he was a general on Earth who sends a message to the ship. When he talks in that opening message, it is incredibly wooden, and it is far more wooden than any other bit of acting here, and that is absolutely horrible. Everybody else, I can at least give a free pass, because it does kind of sort of help build the world of they're slowly losing their minds because they've been in space alone for 20 fucking years. Of course, you're not going to sound totally natural. So besides that, one actor, this right here is a film where slightly off wooden acting actually benefits the film. It actually does feel like our cast of characters are losing their ever-loving mind. And it works. It works incredibly well. I honestly never thought I would be able to praise somewhat fucking dodgy acting, but it kind of worked here. Sets. I normally don't talk about sets, but I have to comment on these. Guys, I had no idea what the inside of this ship was going to look like. I knew for a fact that this movie was set entirely on this ship, and I think maybe I was expecting something similar to like what we see in series and movies like Star Trek, where you have these big broad hallways and it actually looks almost like a place that you would want to live in. No, this thing here is a tiny, compact ship. Every single walkway is monstrously claustrophobic, and even honestly, like the command center is just basically this tiny ass like hallway where you basically have screens, where you have screens and buttons on both sides, and there's just enough room in the middle for 3 chairs right next to each other. Each chair facing opposite directions, so that way then you have a full button panel to work with. There used to be a fourth chair there, but the captain of the ship was killed before the film starts, and one member of the crew is a little bit more paranoid because he's in the seat next to that seat, and he thinks that he may be next. And the ship is constantly breaking down, and Earth is not willing to send a cargo ship out to give them any of the necessary supplies that they need. So that actually also that kind of adds to the whole madness, you know, lunacy, being trapped in space for 20 years feeling. Is you then listen to also the logs from the actors. This is sort of going back to writing an act, or the logs of our crew members. and all of them are talking about how there was like some kind of a rupture on the ship's hull, and now we're totally out of toilet paper. It's like all that kind of stuff, and it all builds this beautiful atmosphere, which again, that there's going back to writing. Our sets here are amazing, and they are incredibly realistic. I absolutely loved how the sets looked. Special effects, I'm going to tell you guys right now, for a film from 1974, and a film with an incredibly low budget, this sucker has amazing special effects. I was not expecting some of the things I saw here from a movie that came out in 1974 and had almost no goddamn budget, alright? It's like, back then, guys, I believe that the only major sci-fi film you really had to, look at as kind of sort of like the high mark was 2001. I actually could be totally wrong on that. My memory's completely spacing as to when fucking 2001 came out. But this thing, again, it had almost no budget, and you can kind of see how they built a whole lot of the things. I mentioned earlier that one of the spacesuits, or one of the star suits, as they call them in the film, the arms are basically just like dryer fucking tubes, or a dryer hose. And the rest of the suit essentially looks almost like tin foil, and then they put like a muffin tin right here to kind of sort of give it, this look as if it's got like dials or gauges or something on the front. And yes, it looks incredibly cheap, and our alien is just a beach ball with little fucking like gloves that look kind of sort of like flippers for feet. Again, it's cheap, but it's kind of sort of cool, and it really is interesting to see exactly what they all did to make everything work and to give everything that like sci-fi-ish look. And our shots of the ship flying through space look fairly decent, except for the couple of shots where it really is totally obvious they basically had basically balls on strings, and they had a light source in the center, and then they had the model of the ship on the bottom at the bottom of the screen, and just very slowly dragging it across the bottom of the screen. I believe they do that. I believe they use that kind of shot twice. And it looks really cheesy, but I actually kind of sort of liked it because it was so fucking cheesy. They also have a handful of lighting effects, especially things like lasers. And the lasers in this thing are done incredibly well, and there really are not a lot of shots of lasers, let's just be straight up on that. All of that looks really good. Hyperdrive sequence, when the ship actually goes into hyperdrive as it's trying to go as far the fuck as it tries to go as far the fuck away from a planet that they just dropped a bomb on as possible. And everything that you see with the ship as it's traveling through hyperspace looks really cool. Special effects here are fantastic. Once more, especially considering when this thing came out and the budget that it had. This thing is a masterpiece, specifically on those grounds. Music. Well, guys, the music in this film is composed by John Carpenter. John Carpenter created one of my favorite pieces of music in the history of film, one which is the direct inspiration for the current theme for this show, and that was the Escape from New York theme. So I went into this knowing that John Carpenter is able to compose awesome music, and he does not fail here. He turns in fantastic music, and there also are a handful of pieces which aren't from Carpenter, and even those are really, really awesome pieces. A whole lot of them are actually just classical music. Really, really well-picked pieces of classical music. There also is a song that plays over the opening credits and also during the very end of the film. I should mention the movie does not have closing credits. So yeah, guys, music here is done really well. Our camera work here is amazing. Our lighting here is fantastic. Well, correction, lighting here is passable. There actually are a couple of shots that look to be a little bit too dark. Those honestly are especially during the sequence with the alien, when the alien is being chased down. A handful of those shots are incredibly dark. Could probably have been lit a little bit better. I do have to mention that. But guys, when all is said and done, am I able to recommend Dark Star? Oh yes, I can totally recommend this. This thing, guys, I'm gonna tell you, I went into this expecting it to be good, specifically because of who directed it and the two people who wrote it. And this thing, guys, is better. This thing, guys, is better than good. This thing is awesome. And if you are a fan of John Carpenter's films, or if you are a fan of Dan O'Bannon's writing, and if you haven't had a chance to watch this thing yet, you owe it to yourself to watch it. It is a fantastic film. It is a fun, cheesy, goofy, sci-fi, dark fucking comedy, and I loved almost every second of it. Again, the ending is incredibly grim, and it's just a little bit of a downer. But it is still kind of funny in its own sort of way at times. It honestly, guys, is a really solid movie. I can definitely recommend it. This sucker is going to have a very happy place in my Blu-ray collection. Now, because it's Fan Appreciation Month, Dark Star came off the Amazon wishlist. The person who sent it in was Parker. You can find Parker's YouTube channel at youtube.com/user/insidiouscorpse. Let me double check that. I want to make sure because I do have it written down. Yes. That is youtube.com/user/insidiouscorpse. Please, guys, swing over there. Check out everything he has. Parker, I have got to thank you. Because I have stated many times over the course of this series, I've been a big fan of, I've been a huge fan of most of John Carpenter's work. I always wanted to watch this, and thanks to you sending it in, I finally had my chance, and I absolutely loved it. I cannot thank you enough, dude. You fucking rock. Once more, that is youtube.com/user/insidiouscorpse. Now, you know, guys, after watching this, I kind of sort of want to watch a couple more sci-fi films, and I'm looking at my Blu-ray collection. You know, it's been a long time since I watched Galaxy Quest. I'm going to go watch that. That is also an amazing movie, and if you haven't seen it, please, by all means, go and check it out. And also, I got to make space on my Blu-ray shelf for this. So, anyway, guys, with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.